Hey everybody, welcome back to Brent's Backyard Redneckery. Today we're going to look at an old grapevine, getting rid of it and planting a new one. So tune in, I'll tell you what you need to do. Alright, so this is my old grapevine. A couple years ago we had a bad frost come through and it took it out. And this is my beautiful redneck trellis. I didn't want to get a trellis, so I took some old mechanics wire and some old PVC that I had laying around and made this thing. So it's really tacky, looks really bad, but it works. So what we're going to do is dig this thing up and get the other one planted. So let's go ahead and get started. So one thing that I've found handy when digging up an old plant is to soak the ground first to get it nice and softened up, because there's nothing much worse than trying to dig through 6 to 10 inches of hard dirt. So we'll start out by soaking this down. We're going to soak it down around the roots right at the entrance here. We're also going to soak it down around the edges. We'll give that a good probably minutes worth of soaking until the ground shows that it won't hold any more water. Once it's done with that, I'll let it sit for about an hour, come back out and check it, and then we'll go from there on that. Dig it up and get going. Now we can look right here and see that the water is barely sinking in, so we're done. We're gonna let this sit for about an hour and then come back out and dig it up, and then we'll go from there. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do, get the old limb loppers and prune this down around the bottom. It's not gonna do any good as a pruning idea, but that's gonna make it easier for me to lift this thing up out of the ground. We'll do a little chop. As you can tell, this thing's already freaking dead. And those limbs, these just fell off. I mean, I just pulled that up. So it's very obvious this plant is completely dead. All right, that's great. So pull these up. And toss that out of my way. Now go get the shovel and start digging. So let's do that. All right, one thing I do like to do, make use of my wheelbarrow. I'm on about a 30-degree incline here. So I've had to prop that up with a rock under one of the back stops there in order for it to not roll down the hill. The reason I use one of those is so that I don't get dirt everywhere, because I hate cleaning it up. I mean, just look how simple and smooth that went in there. Not too bad. And that's some really soft, good soil I'll be able to put back in and put around the new grapevine. There really aren't that many roots in here from the old one because of how dead it is. That looks like our main root there. So I'll just go ahead and finish digging this hole, and then we'll get that new plant in. But there it is. Check that out. One thing I do want to do before I plant a grapevine, a blackberry bush, raspberry bush, anything like that, is pull up a lot of my weeds that are already around here, so that I'll have an easier time of filling around it and it not looking terrible whenever I'm done. But before I start getting the rest of these up, we'll just check out something. You see this plant here? It's just an old weed looking plant, right? So this is actually a plant that is used and called poor man's pepper. So if you get one of these, you see them around your yard. I mean, it's basically an invasive weed, but you test it out, it does taste like pepper. Ooh, yeah, definitely got that kick. All right, now I've got this cleaned up pretty good around here for what I'm going to be doing. I'll clean it out more later and then you'll be able to see the finished product. But for right now, this is what I got. We've got our hole. One thing you're going to want to pay attention to once I rip this open with only one hand is the depth at which this is. So you're not going to want to put dirt any higher than where that bottom of that trunk is. I guess it's a trunk on a grapevine. Hell, I don't know. Anyway, you don't want to put your dirt up any higher than you can choke out the bottom, over water, kill it, have root rot. Next thing you know, your grapevine's done. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in this hole and get this thing all set in the ground. Go from there. All right, we'll go ahead and get this bad boy watered in. Once we've got the water in there, it's going to soak through down to the soil. I could stomp around on it and get all the air pockets out, but as soon as I do and walk inside, my wife will beat me. So I'm just going to water it, a little bit over watering, and we'll call it a day. What I have there is not mulch. It is actually a blend of soil conditioner, compost, and sand and peat moss. So that's what I usually use to mix up soil to put my plants in that I'm transplanting. But for today, it's gonna sit there and look like mulch. So anyway, that's what I've got today for you on this replanting a new grapevine. If you've learned anything, enjoyed yourselves, make sure you like the content, leave me a comment, share it with your friends. Come back next time. I'll tell you what you need to do.